Welcome to Rise and Unwind, a show where we focus on lifestyle, wellness, and feel-good stories to start your day. My name is Kayla, and here's what we have coming up next.
You know, they're in your DMs, they've emailed you, they've texted you, they've given you a call.
All that and more on Rise and Unwind.
Ever wonder how moonshiners keep a century-old tradition alive when the stakes keep getting higher and higher? A new season of Moonshiners is already underway, and it's pushing the limits like never before, from rising liquor prices to bigger risks and tougher crackdowns. So joining us today are Mark Ramsey and Digger Maines, longtime distillers and stars of Moonshiners on Discovery Channel. It's great to see you both. How are you two today?
Good to see you, boss.
It's great to be seen. It's better to be seen than viewed.
Yeah.
That's a good line. I love that. All right, I guess we're just hanging out today. We can't really be talking about anything that you guys do, so how are things? No.
Things are good.
We're not afraid to talk about what we've done. Sometimes it might save somebody from making the same mistake.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so this season opens with more pressure than ever. There's higher costs, tighter enforcement, bigger risks. What did that change for you guys day to day?
Cautious on all levels, whether it be the materials you're buying or looking in that rearview mirror to see if the police is on your back end.
You know, the dynamics in our line of work never changes. It just changes the fact how severe they are. You know, higher prices is absolutely bad for us, but the tariffs may be a good thing for us for liquor being sent out of the country. You know, it puts more demand on non-tax liquor. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword, but we're going to live with it and deal with it the way we always have.
And moonshining has deep roots going back hundreds and maybe even thousands of years. When you look at what you're doing now, what still feels the same and what feels completely different?
The amount of money we're making feels different, and the pressure feels a whole lot worse.
You know, the thing about it is this upcoming season, Digger and I have we're getting back to our roots, back to our basics a little more, slowing down a little bit, trying to draw less attention to ourselves. And, you know, it was good. Digger and I hadn't done anything just one-on-one together in a long time, and I think it'll turn out real nice this season.
It will. I mean, no matter what the dynamics, if you don't approach what you're doing for a living as a business, then it's not going to be a business long. You know, we look at the future. We see what projections on sugar are going to be the next year. We tend to watch that. See where you can get the biggest value, and you can pass that value on to your customers and still make your profit margin handsome.
And there's a real sense this season of deciding how far is too far. Were there moments that you honestly questioned whether it was worth continuing?
Oh, absolutely.
Just about every day, right?
About every day, yeah. You know, it every day brings its own set of challenges, and I think that's one reason that Digger and I are both attracted to this business so much, and the fact that we just love the heritage of it. Our forefathers done it. You know, when the immigrants, the Scotch Irish and the Black Dutch came to this country, not only did they bring their couches and their tables and their furniture, they brought their liquor stills, and maybe we owe all of this to them.
And viewers see the danger and the drama, but they also see the craftsmanship. What do you wish people would better understand about the skill behind what you do?
Well, it should be their way of doing life in whatever their vocation is. Whether you're digging taters or making liquor, do the best you possibly can at it. And if anybody around you needs a little help, be the first one to extend that hand. That's what's kept this craft alive.
You know, we're blessed in the place where we live and the area we grew up in, and people grew up here helping each other, and we like to continue that. And that's the way it's going to stay as far as I'm concerned. But it is a business. You know, we do have to make a living. And but all in all, it's a good life. It's been a wonderful ride.
And you guys are the experts. For those that are amateurs that are or inspired by what you do, what are some of the do's or don'ts or warning signs or say, hell no, don't do this type of things that you could say to somebody that might be interested in jumping in and maybe trying something like this themselves? Not to try to influence anyway.
I don't know where you'd start with all the don'ts. There's a lot of those. I mean, it's like any other hobby. That's all it's going to be anymore, because the days of huge liquor production, they've about dwindled out on the untaxed side. Um, it's just a way to share camaraderie anymore. The beautiful thing about this show we're doing, we've been blessed to be involved in this part of the Appalachian heritage. And I appreciate the fact that folks want to look into it and see what we've lived through all our lives.
The advice I give anybody, if you want to make you a little bit of liquor, get busy, do it. If it's something you enjoy, keep at it, because you're going to make a lot of terrible liquor. Digger and I have made a ton of terrible, terrible liquor. And, it comes with practice. And every now and then, you'll still make a terrible run of liquor. But I recommend it. Try it. If you like it, keep it up. If you don't, move on.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Mark Digger, I want to thank you too for joining me today. You can always catch new episodes of Moonshiners now airing on Discovery Channel, and follow the season as it unfolds with even higher stakes and deeper tradition. Hey, I want to thank you too for joining me today.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed day.
Have you noticed how often books are subtly just being pulled from school shelves? Sometimes quietly, sometimes overnight. And across the country, librarians are finding themselves on the front lines of a much bigger cultural fight. There's a new documentary, The Librarians, that takes a close look at what's driving these bans and the real people caught in the middle. So joining us today are Oscar-nominated director Kim Snyder and high school librarian Julie Miller, whose life changed after she questioned why dozens of books were being removed from her school. So welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Very well.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Kim, when you started working on The Librarians, what surprised you most about how widespread and coordinated those book challenges have actually become?
Well, it was shocking back in 21 when we started this journey to even learn that criminalization was on the table for librarians doing what they have been trained to do, which is to protect our First Amendment rights and to provide us with representation and thriving libraries. So many things shocked me. And it was quite a journey, but I think really discovering along the way how organized and what was really underneath this, which was really not about the books themselves, but a much more organized and insidious movement with political agendas that are quite extreme.
And Julie, your story is incredibly personal. What's going on through your mind when you were first told these books had to just come off the shelves?
At first, it kind of seemed like this is absurd, really, to be doing this sort of thing. We've been celebrating Banned Books Week, or commemorating, I should say, maybe Banned Books Week for since I was born, I think, in America, to highlight the importance of intellectual freedom, access to information, and to shine a light on censorship and the dangers of it, because censorship is deeply un-American. And so I think that when it first started, it just kind of seemed like, well, this is silly. This is not going to happen. We hadn't had a challenge in my district school system in over 20 years when we had our first one in 21. But this it's escalated beyond anyone's imagination. We're up to over 1,000 book challenges that have been filed in my school system. So it's been really insane, honestly.
And with these challenges, who does it affect the most?
Well, to me, it's the students. A lot of the books that are being challenged are more ones that are in high schools. The people who are in favor of banning books like to present it as though books written for high schoolers are being given to kindergartners, which is obviously not the case. Beyond that, there is no pornography in school libraries. Yes, teens are going to come across heavy topics sometimes, but sometimes these are just simply books about the history of racism in our country, or books that deal with marginalized groups. One of the librarians in our film, Amanda Jones, talks about how she knows of at least 12 students, former students of hers, who have committed suicide because they were so ostracized in their community for being LGBTQ plus. So these are the people who are being affected most by this, are the students whose identities are being erased by having books taken off the shelves. When I see books being challenged that are about just the experience of being Black in America being removed from shelves, it's horrific, because I see students being removed from history.
And the documentary is showing how librarians are becoming the unexpected advocates and, in some cases, targets. What kind of pressure are they facing right now?
Well, in the documentary, it's shocking. There are, as Julie said, hundreds. We weren't able to show hundreds, but Julie is joined by a large swath of librarians who are under siege, I would say, across the country. And I would say that when you say who is affected, it's every single one of us whose rights are being threatened, because it has not ended in the school libraries. It's permeated the museums and the universities. So we are, as one anonymous librarian says at the end, this is now everyone's story.
And do you have a quick tip for some of the viewers watching this and wondering what they could do?
We're really advocating. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just saying that getting involved locally is really important. That's where these things are happening. These are not federal decisions that are being made. A lot of times it is your local school board or even your local public library boards where the banning and censorship is happening. So get involved in your community. There are lots of grassroots organizations and parent groups that are speaking up against this. If you're not ready to run for school board, you can certainly, of course, vote. You can get informed. You can write letters to the editor. You can make phone calls. Anything that you can do, even reaching out to, if you're a parent, reaching out to your school, your children's school's librarian, if they have one, and just let them know that you're there for them, that if they're ever encountering issues with censorship, give them your name and number as someone they can reach out to, so that you can try to connect them with others in the community who will stand up with them.
Julie, Kim, I want to thank you too for joining me today. The Librarians premieres Monday, February 9th on PBS's Independent Lens and will also be available to stream on the PBS app. It's a powerful, eye-opening watch and one that really gets you thinking about what's really at stake. I want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Have you ever wondered what it really takes to send technology to the moon and then make it work once it's there? There's a new documentary called Drive Me to the Moon. It takes viewers behind the scenes of a groundbreaking lunar mission and the collaboration that made it possible. So joining us today is Fabiana Neves, Vice President of Castrol Americas, to talk about the film and why this moment matters for the future of space exploration. Welcome to the show, Fabiana. How are you?
Thank you for having me. All good here today. Thank you.
All right, for our viewers just hearing about it, what is Drive Me to the Moon and what story does the documentary tell?
Drive Me to the Moon is a documentary where you will see everything behind the scenes on what it takes to be in the moon, from the concept to design to collaboration to bringing innovation, technology, and all steps towards making sure, hey, we are in the moon again.
And the movie follows the Lunar Voyage 1 mission from early testing to touch down on the moon. What do you think will surprise people most when they watch it?
Well, the first one is making sure that the collaboration with the private sector and how new innovation has evolved and made it possible for the first time ever be in the lunar South Pole. So that's a pioneer opportunity never done before. And you can see firsthand, right, so on the documentary.
Mission control is also a big part of the story. What makes this operation so unique compared to past lunar missions?
Mission control is the brain behind the machines and truly what monitors, give control, as well as receive the data and insights of everything that is happening from the moment of the launch until the machinists in there, right? So is the brain, is the women behind everything that happens, right? So the ability to monitor, to receive the images, the data, the insights, and then turn this into actions that we can learn and evolve further is definitely the heart and the brain behind everything happening there.
And Castrol has been involved in space exploration for decades. How did that experience shape their role in this mission and making of this film?
For over 7 decades, we have been partnering with NASA since the Apollo mission, worked with the Mars missions, with the rovers, the Opportunity, the Curiosity, the Perseverance rovers, and our technology have evolved and enabled these missions to be successful. Now partnering with Lunar Outpost and the private sector to making sure that we do evolve, that we bring the technology, and our lubricants enable those missions to be successful is critical, has been critical for Castrol. We are really, really proud of being partnering and working and evolving with the space industry.
With renewed excitement around lunar exploration right now, how does this mission help set the stage for what's coming next?
Yeah, great question. We are definitely keen to support the goal of finding a sustainable way of having human presence in the moon. This mission was a first step towards that goal, so we are keen to continue partnering and making sure that, hey, we can make this a reality and there is a sustainable way for having human presence in the moon.
So where can our viewers go check out Drive Me to the Moon and maybe get more information?
You can go to our website, castrol.com/drive-me-to-the-moon, and also you can find us on YouTube.
Fabiana Neves, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
There's something powerful about a song that feels real, like it was pulled straight out of someone's life. Country artist Harper Grace has a new single called If Daddy Says No, and it's all about that push and pull between following your heart and honoring where you came from. She's a Texas native with more than 17 million career streams and national TV appearances under her belt, and now she's stepping into country radio in a very big way. Harper Grace, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
I'm so wonderful. How are you? Thanks for having me.
We're doing good over here. We were listening, and that song just feels really personal. What was happening in your life when you wrote If Daddy Says No?
Well, I'll tell you what. I was in a relationship that I thought I was so in love, and I was ready to run away, get married, and do all the things. But thank the Lord, because my dad said no. So this is a very, very true, very personal story. And at the time I wrote this song, I was really stuck in between what the right decision was. I grew up in Texas. I have been so close with my dad ever since I was little. We went to father-daughter camps together, and I've always, always respected his opinion and what he thought of really anything. And at this time, I was in a relationship that did not honor me very well at all, as well as didn't honor my dad or my family. And so that really, really ate me up on the inside, which is what inspired If Daddy Says No. And it was a scary thing to write, and it's been a scary thing to talk about, but I'll tell you, the listeners of getting the opportunity of playing this song live have really been the thing for me to be encouraged to actually share this point of my life, because after I've played it live, I've heard so many different people's story of whether their dad actually did say no, and it was, a really bad relationship and they are no longer together and went through a divorce or whatever it may be, or their dad said no and they actually didn't end up getting married, or their dad didn't, chime in and they wish they did, or their dad did say no and they're living happily ever after. So there's so many different outcomes. And when I wrote If Daddy Says No, the lyrics don't have a resolution in the song, so that the listener is able to piece together what it is that their story might be in the midst of the lyrics. And so for me, my resolution was my dad did say no, not to love, but to remind me that true love is worth waiting for, and finding somebody that really, really honors and respects you as a human being, as well as your family and what matters most to you. Is important. And
you've already had some huge milestones, national TV performances, 17 million streams, even a Netflix sync. How does this single feel different as your first one going into country radio?
Honestly, it feels like I ripped a piece out of my heart and put it on paper and then passed it out to a bunch of people. And I think that that's the beauty in it. I think that I always have fun writing music. I always enjoy telling, fun stories with Take It to the Grave, Getaway, that's in the Netflix movie. But this song was so personal and so vulnerable. And I just wanted that to set the tone for this year, especially coming out with new music towards the end of the year as well. This is kind of this waterfall trickling in on an album, hopefully soon, and the album would be called Dear Heart. So these are really pages just ripped out of my heart of areas of my life that people don't quite know about, that I'm ready to share because of having the opportunity of playing them live for a couple of years now, and knowing that so many other people have also walked through these situations and these experiences in much different ways. But yeah, it does feel different because it feels vulnerable.
All right, here's a question I like to ask artists and people that are creators. Who is an inspiration for you that is outside of the type of, that is not a musician or somebody like that, like a country singer, that is outside doing their own art? Who is in another form of art is an inspiration to you that you use in your own world and building creativity?
In another form of art, I think I spend a lot of time listening to music, so that is definitely something that in the most artistic thing has drawn me. But I do listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of preachers. And I think that that's a whole nother art, is bringing scripture to life and talking about it. Jensen Franklin is someone that I really look up to. Jonathan Pokluda is someone that I look up to. Sadie Robertson. There's this wonderful podcast called Girls Gone Bible. I listen to that a lot. So I think maybe that's another piece of art in my personal opinion that I really draw a lot of inspiration from.
And for people who discovered you for the first time, how would you describe your sound, and what would you want them to feel when they actually hear this track?
I would describe it, my sound in general would be a soulful country with a little bit of classic added to it. I would hope that when people hear If Daddy Says No, that they could do some, maybe some searching of what that personal piece is that is attached to that song, and know that there's ways to get it out and talk about it, and music is a wonderful way to piece personal bits of your own life, whether that's If Daddy Says No or your favorite artist. But yeah.
Harper Grace, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. You can check out Harper Grace's new single, If Daddy Says No, when it hits streaming platforms February 27th. And to learn more, you can follow her journey. Visit harpergracexo.com and find her on social media. Harper, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a wonderful time. Top tier, 10 out of 10.
Well, thank you.
Okay, real talk. If someone you've never met is calling you baby and asking for money before they've even FaceTimed you, there might be some red flags. Romance scams are blowing up, especially this time of year, and scammers are basically out here auditioning for an Oscar. So before you fall in love with Brad_42, let's slow it down a little. Joining us now is Adam Klappholz, head of product at Zelle, here to help us spot the red flags before we send money we can't get back. Adam, welcome.
It's great to be here, and I hope I can be effective with some of these tips.
So romance scams are everywhere right now. What are you seeing, and what should people keep in mind while they're swiping, scrolling, and maybe falling for someone with a profile picture of them holding a fish like a trophy?
Like you said, if you don't know someone and they've reached out to you, if they're in your DMs, they've emailed you, they texted you, they've given you a call, and you don't know them, and they're offering you friendship, companionship, potentially some sort of romantic interests, that is an enormous red flag. It's probably more than likely a scammer versus Cupid happening to get kind of lucky and someone reach out to you and all of a sudden there's a great relationship there. You definitely need to pause. You need to talk to a friend before you do anything.
And why do scammers always try to move things into private DMs or text messages? Is that like the digital equivalent of let's take this somewhere quiet?
Right. So scammers will reach out to you in your email, in your text messages, and then or on social media. Then they use two tactics to try to scam you. The first tactic is that they want to isolate you. So these scammers are really going after vulnerable, lonely folks. You could be divorced, you could be elderly. You're just looking for that relationship. And they target those types of people. Then they further want to isolate you so they can form that bond or false sense of intimacy. Also, once they bring you off of the social platforms, there's less safeguards in place, so they can really take advantage. The second tactic that they will leverage is a sense of urgency. So they've established this fake intimacy, and then something will go wrong. There'll be a car crash, someone's stuck in a foreign country, there's an urgent need for cash. What we like to say is that love shouldn't come with a price. It shouldn't come with a fee. So when you don't know the person and then they're asking you for money, you really need to be wary. You really need to pause. You really need to evaluate whether you know them or not and whether this is a scam or not.
So let's talk money, because once that money's gone, it's not coming back with flowers and an apology. When it comes to digital payments, how should people be using them safely? And what's the golden rule before you hit send?
Right. And the good thing about these scams is they don't start on the payments platforms. They start well before then on social media, in your inbox. So if you see something, fishy there, like definitely pause before you talk to someone, before you go off platform, before the romance scam even starts. However, if you are led all the way down onto a digital payments platform like Zelle's, there's a lot of safeguards in place. So Zelle uses billions of data signals in order to stop fraud and scams, in addition to the banks on the network running their own models and their own data signals in parallel. Over 99% of our transactions are without fraud or scams reported. And this is on an enormous base. Zelle did over $1 trillion in volume the past 2 years, and actually 100 million unique bank accounts used Zelle in December of last year. That all being said, if you're not able to catch a scam early, you do need to follow some protocol to keep yourself safe. Only send a Zelle transaction to a trusted friend or family member, someone you know. And Zelle also has a big small business presence. We have almost 8 million small businesses on the platform. Anyone from a chiropractor to physical therapist to butcher to florist, and they love using Zelle. But before you send that Zelle transaction, make sure you get the good or service and you have it in hand before you send the payment.
And as you kind of just mentioned, a lot of our viewers use digital payments to pay small businesses or send money to friends or family. Where does Zelle fit in, and how should it be used the right way?
Yeah, it's amazing that Zelle has really established itself as a cornerstone of these small businesses running their businesses. And the reason why is that Zelle is simple. It doesn't take a tech team, an accountant to set up. It's fast. And if you are the local florist or the butcher, time to money is really paramount. You need to use those funds as working capital to buy additional meat, to buy additional flowers. It's really simple. It's integrated into your bank account. So you don't need to think about other types of integrations. You don't need to think about managing your money in different places. And lastly, buyers love using Zelle. Zelle is available in over 2,400 bank apps, the vast majority of which are small local banks and credit unions. So the Zelle solution is really tailored around the Main Street use case and Main Street problems of paying the small business. And that's why small business owners love to use it.
And for anyone watching who's thinking, is Chad from Paris actually real? Where can they go for more information?
If you'd like to learn more about Zelle, check out Zelle.com.
Adam, you are a hero. I want to thank you for being here today.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
That's it this week for Rise and Unwind. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. For more episodes and updates, be sure to follow us on social media. That's at Rise Unwind. If you'd like to be on our show, head to our website at riseunwindtv.com and fill out the form. And lastly, we are on YouTube at Rise Unwind. If you maybe want to click that little bell to stay updated and check back next week. Until then, take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time on Rise and Unwind.